Welcome to Peculiar Stories, where we explore the fascinating world of near-death experiences and offer new perspectives on the meaning of life and death. Our goal is to shed light on these profound stories, deepen your understanding of life, and provide valuable insights to our audience. Whether you're new here or simply joining us again, we're thrilled to have you on this journey. If you enjoy what we do, consider subscribing to our channel to stay updated on our latest content, and don't forget to hit the like button to help our content reach a wider audience. So sit back, relax, and get ready to be transported to the edge of life and beyond. My name is Heather. I had my first near-death experience a couple of years ago. I have suffered with depression and anxiety for most of my life, which has led me to suicidal thoughts at times. On the night of February 12, 2021, I had gotten into a full-blown argument with my children's father, which resulted in him leaving and taking our two daughters with him. In a moment of despair, I decided that I could not live without my children, and thought they would be better off without me. I had some prescription bottles in my medicine cabinet, so I went to the bathroom and grabbed 2 bottles, then swallowed a bunch of muscle relaxers, along with some nerve pain pills, trying to end my life. A moment after I swallowed about 30 pills total, I started contemplating whether to lay down and wait for the pills to take effect. For some reason, I changed my mind and started thinking that I really didn't want to die because my children still needed me regardless of the situation at hand. I stormed out of my house and ran across the street to my neighbor, whom was also a friend of mine at the time. I asked her to call 911 because I just took a bunch of pills and didn't really want to die. Moments later, an ambulance pulled up. The paramedic asked me some questions, raided my bathroom for the empty pill bottles, then told me I would need to drink this charcoal liquid to pump my stomach of the meds. I refused it because I felt okay at the moment, so then they rushed me to the nearest hospital. When we arrived, they immediately took me into the ER, and a nurse started hooking me up to those sticky patches to monitor my heart rate. The doctor came in a moment later and started asking me questions about what I took. I said I had swallowed about 15 gabapentin 600 mg and about 15 methocarbamol 350 mg each. After a moment or so, I started feeling extremely tired. My eyelids were very heavy and started to close. I laid back on the bed and heard the heart monitor begin to flatline into a long beeping sound, which then I entered total darkness. What felt like only a few seconds later, I noticed what appeared to be a plain room full of bright light. I was immediately aware of my consciousness and had a sense that there was no time where I was at. I'm not certain that my spirit left my body because I didn't float anywhere or see my body laying on the bed. I was just there in this brightly lit room, but I could still hear a faint whisper of the nurse and doctor frantically talking. Their voices started to fade, and I began to feel an overwhelming amount of love, joy, peace, warmth, and calmness envelop over me and throughout my entire being. It seemed like I just became one with the light in the room, and the love and peace I felt was 1,000,000 times magnified more than anything I ever experienced here on Earth. It felt like a really warm, cozy blanket had been tightly wrapped around me, and I just somehow knew this was God emanating His love for me and through me. A thought entered my mind telling me this was my one and only true home. I remember like it was yesterday, feeling as if I had immediately become this ball of energy, joy, and happiness. I was also aware that there was no time to be measured in this place, so it felt to me like hours had passed of myself just basking in this warm, loving energy. After a while, I heard a stern but gentle male voice telepathically say to me, "Heather, open your eyes." I replied to him in my head, "No, I don't want to go back. I want to go home with you." He said again, "Heather, open your eyes. It's not your time yet." I said again, a couple more times, that I did not want to go back, but he kept insisting it wasn't my time yet. After 5 or 6 times of me and this male energy going back and forth with each other, I felt a stabbing pain in my side. My eyes popped open, and I sat straight up in the hospital bed. The doctor had injected me with a needle of something to bring me back. He then told me my heart had stopped for 40 seconds and for me to stay sitting up. I remember then feeling guilty how I was bickering with the male voice to stay in that place. And not one time did I even think about my children, pets, or responsibilities I still had on Earth. I somehow just knew that God had allowed me to feel what it would be like after we die and go to heaven. There were no thoughts or worries about leaving anything or anyone behind. My second supernatural experience occurred in July 2022. I was back with my children's father by this point, so we decided to take a mini vacation. It was a Saturday night, so myself, my boyfriend, and our 2 children went and stayed at a Hampton Inn hotel room. After a couple hours of swimming, I put my children to sleep in the bed next to us. I then had a few glasses of wine and decided to get some sleep around 3 a.m. I closed my eyes and started to drift off when I suddenly felt an overwhelming presence of someone pinning me down to the bed. My eyes shot open as I heard my boyfriend snoring next to me. Hovering over top of me was a hollow black entity of some sort with piercing red eyes. I tried to reach out for my boyfriend but realized I couldn't move. Then I tried to scream but nothing came out of my mouth. For moments, I saw and felt this evil presence trying to take over my body and soul. The feeling was 1,000 times worse than the sight of it. I could feel the hatred, anger, jealousy, and pure evil emanating from this being into the most inner parts of me. Inside my head, I was screaming and crying. The black entity started shifting in front of me. I seen sharp teeth, bat-like wings, reptile-like claws, then a gargoyle face just intermittently changing back and forth to the worst possible things I could ever imagine. I felt like I was in one of the many horror movies I had seen so many times. Words can't really describe how terrifying this thing was and how scared I felt, but somehow I just knew it was Satan. Eventually, I couldn't take it anymore. I felt like I was literally dying just from being in this entity's presence, so I started yelling in my head for God. I said over and over, "God, please save me from this thing. Make it go away." After what felt like forever, the entity finally dissipated and I could move again. I immediately jumped from the bed and started searching for a Bible, but there wasn't one anywhere in the room. I was too afraid to lay back down, so I sat on the couch and prayed over and over for God to please forgive me for my sins and never let me experience anything like that again. I wasn't sure what I had done to deserve that thing torturing my mind and soul like that. To this day, I haven't seen or felt that presence again, and I keep praying I never have to go through something like that again. I now pray to the Lord every day and try to do right, be kind and loving as much as possible towards others. I just want everyone to know that both God and the devil do exist. I have always considered myself Christian even though I've never been baptized. I honestly don't know if my second experience was supposedly sleep paralysis or a hypnagogic hallucination, but I do know what I experienced was extremely vivid and real, as I was most definitely awake when it occurred. Watch this near-death experience next about a woman who had a mind-bending story with so much insight, you simply don't want to miss it.